Hey everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to bring you a video on the secret that nobody is telling you, how the migrant crisis can affect your credit and bank lending personally. Now, I worked in the banking industry with insurance, mortgage companies, and various fields in the banking and credit industry. And these industries are both kind of one and the same. And I want to share with you on how this migrant crisis can affect you personally for lending and your pocket and your bottom line. So if you're new to my channel is designed to help you no matter where you are in your credit journey. So if you're tired of being denied for credit and want to join our credit community, make sure you subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and also hit your notification bell so you can be notified anytime I upload a new video. And at my website, I give you a free hard inquiry removal package because hard inquiries can get you denied for credit. I also have other packages for purchase for your negative items. And in March, I am rolling out my business credit course to show you guys on how you can get business credit funding within 24 hours. And this will be on March the 16th. So if you guys want to sign up, make sure you sign up with the link below. And I just launched out a couple of months ago my elite credit system, and people are getting great results, like this user Sean, who was able to raise his credit scores within 3 months over a 750 credit score, and one of his credit scores is close to 800. Now with him, I am helping him also with the program. He's merging over to the business credit side. So I will leave all these links in the description of the video and in the pinned comment section. So let's jump into this information. In 2023, the U.S. have experienced a high number of migrants coming into the United States, the highest on record of 2.5 million. Now, this doesn't include those who did not check in at the point of entries, which is causing a crisis around the country. Cities like Denver, Chicago, and New York City is receiving a high number of migrants. Now, these migrants are costing these cities a record high number of costs just to take care of these migrants. For Denver, they spent over $36 million. Chicago has spent over $138 million, and New York City has spent over $12 billion all last year in 2023. Now, with this, people don't understand, with this record number of migrants, it will and can affect banking and lending to you personally, because banks look at certain variables that people are not aware of to secure themselves for risk. Now, there are different ways that banks secure themselves from risk. And I told you guys how I have a field inspection business and how you can start being a field inspector. And I wrote a book and I gave you guys a list of contractors that you can work with. So, field inspection is when you go out and you will do inspections for mortgage companies, also insurance companies, and various types of lenders and banks. And these are loss control inspections. So the insurance and banks and various lenders look at different data so they can control their loss. And you will go out and be the eyes and ears and complete these inspections. Now, even with one of my contractors that I work with the field inspector business, they even work with certain credit bureaus to look at some data for risk and lending because the banks want to know this information when it pertains to different credit profiles. Now, some of this data, like I said, that will affect you with this migrant crisis pertains to your address. So people don't understand on lending and banking, your address and your zip code is very important. Now, banks and lenders want this information so they can assess risk. Now, here's a particular company that I work for, and it is GCS Field Research. And they specialize in audits and even insurance compliance inspections. So, one of the biggest brands that they work for and they list and you're familiar with, which is a major credit bureau, is Equifax. So asking yourself, well, why would Equifax want to collect this kind of data? Because banks use this data that you collect as a field inspector to judge you. And so Equifax collect this data, and this data is pertaining to your demographic and where you live, especially when it comes down to your zip code. And so if you look here and you research and look at an article that Experian have here, the top credit scores in New York City by neighborhood. So this is showing you that Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion are looking at the average credit score in your area. Now, why this is important that they're looking at the average credit score, because the banks are judging you by your zip code and your address. So if you take this example, the Bronx have the lowest credit scores out of all the boroughs that's in New York City, and their lowest credit score is, on average, of everyone that lives there, is a 665 credit score. So if you're a person with a 800 credit score and you live in the Bronx, you could apply for a credit card and have an 850 credit score, but because the average credit score in your borough or zip code is only 655, you may only get a credit card for a $5,000 credit limit versus someone who lives in Manhattan, where the average credit score is a 714 credit limit. They might have a 680 credit score and get a $10,000 to $20,000 credit card because the average credit score in that area is higher. And this dictates the risk that the banks are willing to take in that area. So a lot of people don't understand where you live, you're being judged. So if you live in a community where they're putting a lot of migrants in your zip code and in your area who have no credit score, no income, that is equated into the average credit score in your area. So you are personally affected. That means that the bank is going to secure itself for risk in that area, and you will qualify for less if you're in that area many times versus if you were in another zip code or area code. So people tend to think that, oh, if I get my credit right, I have unlimited access to loans. That is not necessarily true. If you're looking for bank funding, it can dramatically affect your personal credit and your business credit depending on your zip code, with the average credit score and the average income. This is why, when it came down to places like Martha's Vineyard And places in Staten Island, they were very avid about moving the migrants somewhere else because this affects you personally and financially when it comes to lending standards. So, another piece of the puzzle that you guys also need to know, when you're having people come in, most of these people are coming to already lower income communities. This is why many communities that are being inundated and shelters are being built, a lot of times are people at a lower economic standard because they understand they don't want the pushback from that situation. And pretty much they're going to locate people there because they already kind of understand that people in those areas tend not to have a financial education to understand that. And additionally, when you look at New York City, especially a lot of these neighborhoods are already minority neighborhoods, especially with Black neighborhoods. When you're looking at New York City, look at these statistics. On average, when you're looking at homelessness in New York, Black and Hispanic slash Latinx New Yorkers are affected by homelessness more than average. But approximately 50% of head of households in shelters are Black, and 32% are Hispanic Latinx. So for Black populations, you're being affected by 56% of homelessness. That's more than half in New York City. And Hispanic, 32%. And when it says for whites, it's 7%. But Black population, 56% in New York City is outrageous. And this hit some of the highest last year of 2023. Now, when you're looking at areas like Chicago, it's even worse, the numbers. In Chicago, about 1/3 of Chicago's population is Black slash African American, and 75% of Chicagoans experiencing homelessness is Black slash African American in 2022. That's an estimated of 312 families with children experiencing homelessness, which is well above half of the population, which is madness that in New York and Chicago and even places like Denver, they're spending this much money on housing people instead of curing the problems that they have, especially with Americans and also Black Americans and vets. So when you're thinking of this and how this is affecting you, this is going to affect you when they put people in your cities with your zip code and area code, affect you dramatically on how much the bank is going to lend to you because the average credit scores go down. Now, if you are in different zip codes where this is happening, there are ways that you guys can pivot to put yourself in a better position by using other addresses in different zip codes, but you have to do it in a particular way. And I'm going to break that down even in my webinar for business credit, because if you're not using these strategies right, this can affect you. And now banks are really savvy. They're picking up on those UPS, street post office box numbers and addresses. So you have to approach it a different way. And this is what I'll be breaking down in my business credit webinar. So you need to leverage some of these strategies, y'all, especially if you're being affected by this crisis in your particular area. Another part that people are not making you aware, you're already limited on products, or what they're doing is securing their risk. And so they're not giving a number of home loans that you can just attain any home loan there. They only put a certain number of home loans in certain areas. This is why people actually have redlining in their community, because the banks call themselves securing themselves for risk, and they're only going to give a certain amount of home loans. Now, with the migrants, they are seeking asylum, so they are here legally, and so they can get access with an ITIN number to apply for loans, credit cards, mortgages, different types of products. And if you're already a person that's been here, have student loan debt, um, these people are having things taken care of them, such as their rent taken care of in a city like New York, where the average rent have reached about 5,500 a month, and you have student loan debt, you're not getting your rent taken care of, or housing, or washing. And even now they're giving them $1,000 a month on a prepaid debit card, which is more than the actual citizens there, more than what they're getting. And so with all these things taken care of, their health care, food, when they begin to work, they actually look better on paper because they don't have debt, which you have debt. If you have student loan debt, medical debt, you get a collection because the change of the healthcare system now mandates American to have your own healthcare. And if you don't have that healthcare, when you file your taxes, there's a penalty that is a tax penalty to you. So with them, they're not subject to that. And even these cities are taking care of their health care. And you may be a person with a collection from medical collections or any other student loan collection, and you're not qualifying for home loans, or you're not qualifying for credit cards. And that is considered as additional debt, even if your student loans are in good standing. So now you have a person that actually have a clean slate and have nothing but income that can qualify for that loan, and you don't qualify. So it's very important that you get your credit together, because with masses of people coming in, it will, especially if you're in those areas, affect you and your lending. So hopefully this information was helpful and educational. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the comment section. But if you have more personal questions for me, all your questions, if you go to my website and submit them there, go directly to my cell phone. So I hope to see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned.